Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today I thought that I give you guys a bit of an introduction into the online witchy creator world, because it is really a rather specific niche, and as someone who's sort of in the trenches and has been with that for a couple of years now, I think that I'm qualified to do this. So what I'm going to be doing today is go through a list of witchy online creators that I think you guys might encounter or be interested in and following, so that you can find your own specific niche and brand of content within the online witchy sphere. Because I still remember that when getting into all of this and engaging with people on the topics of folklore and witchcraft and folk magic and stuff online, things can get very overwhelming pretty quickly. So to have sort of a guide about what creators are out there, what they are talking about, what their niche is, would have kind of helped me in the beginning. So this video is basically that guide that I wish I had. Some creators on this list you might have already heard about, some are more specific in their niche, and also a significant amount of them follow me or know me, but I'm not making this video to kind of promote them. They don't know that I'm making this video, and I would recommend them and talk about what their content is about, regardless of if they knew me or not. Personally, I don't even really know how things came to a point where many of the people on this list know my face and know who I am. I think it's just more or less a byproduct of having become a witchy online creator myself, and throughout the years, more and more of them have found my platform and started following me. And yes, I was very much freaking out about that when it happened, but still, I was a fan of their content before them knowing me, and I would have still recommended them in this video if they had never interacted with my content at all, because I honestly believe that all of their content is genuinely helpful for a lot of different people, and I just want to spread the good word, so to say. And yeah, this isn't true for every creator on this list. A lot of them also don't know who I am, and in which case, if they're watching this, hi, I like your content. Yeah, and just without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first creator that I'm going to be talking about today is Olivia, aka the Witch of Wanderlust. Now, if you jump into the online witchy niche, she is probably one of the first people that you're going to come across, regardless of what your specific interest within witchcraft ends up being, because her videos are just very high quality, very aesthetically filmed, and also very informative. Like, when watching her content about witchcraft, you really get the feeling that she knows her shit and she has very much hands-on experience in her practice. So she's not just like an armchair occultist, for example. She is from the US, and as far as I know, she lives in the state of Colorado. Those of you who are from the US, that will probably mean something to you. And you can go to her channel for just general witchcraft information on specific types of spell work. I think she recently did a protection spell walkthrough, but I also think there are videos of her doing money magic, videos of her speaking about the experiences that she had with different types of spirits, and a bunch more general witchcraft information that I think is pretty valuable for beginners. You can also find reviews of witchy books on her channel, and besides the witchy stuff, there's also vlog content of her personal life. She vlogs a lot about the pole classes that she teaches, and all of these topics kind of weave together on her channel in a very seamless way, I'd argue. So it's very aesthetic to watch, and also often very easy to watch, and she has a wide variety of content that you can enjoy. So if you are a beginner, I'd recommend her channel to kind of get a feel for the practice and how practitioners might incorporate witchcraft into their daily lives. And also, Olivia is sort of the nexus for a lot of witchcraft creators, I feel like, because she collabs with a lot of them and has a lot of them on her channel. So if you follow Olivia, you'll eventually also come across some other interesting faces. One of them being Frankie, aka 𝔇𝔢 𝔖𝔭𝔬🢦. Now, if you are searching on TikTok for witchcraft information and witchy videos, Frankie is probably the person that you're going to come across. They are, I think, the biggest witchcraft creator on TikTok, and that's where I know them from. I've been following them since I think maybe 3 years at this point. I definitely knew them before they started their YouTube channel. Like most witchy creators that started on TikTok, like myself, Frankie has slowly moved away from posting the majority of their content on that platform and transitioned into making more content for YouTube and Instagram, which is where you can find more in-depth informational posts. Like Olivia, they sometimes do vlogs and give you insights into how their practice shapes their day-to-day routines, so you can get some ideas perhaps on how to incorporate your own practice into your daily mundane life. And they also make, I guess, very digestible and beginner-friendly content. And I'm not saying this in a demeaning way. They are very good at getting the core concepts of witchcraft across. They also have an online shop, I believe, a book that they have on the basics of witchcraft, and especially if you're wanting to look into Italian American folk magic, so the magic practiced by the Italian diaspora in North America, Frankie's page is probably a good place to start looking for information and resources. Now, Frankie had or has, I don't know, it's kind of up in the air, a podcast with Matt, aka Mad Hatter Plays, who is still very much active on TikTok and talks about folklore from all around the world, but highlights especially folklore from North America. Now, the podcast that they had together is called Books and Broomsticks, and there they talk about a bunch of related topics such as cryptids that they have in North America, different types of folk magic practices. They often had other creators coming onto their podcast to talk about their specific practice. And even though the podcast is sort of discontinued right now, I think it's still a good resource if you want to have a deeper look into multiple branches of witchcraft and magic that are out there. And again, you can follow Matt on TikTok and also on Instagram for snippets about different types of folklore and folk practices. Another person quite active on both TikTok and Instagram is Mhara Starling, and she is a Welsh folk magic practitioner who also has a book out all about Welsh folk magic, so if that is the niche and topic that interests you personally, her channel would be the first place to go, I think. Mhara is very energetic in her videos and has just a depth of information about the folklore and magical practices of her culture that I find really inspiring. And she's also a native Welsh speaker, which I think gives a even richer perspective into what Welsh folk magic might look like. Okay, moving on to another witchcraft creator that also got a start on TikTok is Marshall, aka the Witch of Southern Light. Like many other people on this list, he focuses more on the general foundations of witchcraft in his content, but he centers especially folk magic from the southern United States and talks about how his relation to the land there informs his practice. And he does so often on the podcast that he has. Yes, there are a lot of podcasts on here, which is called Southern Bramble, which he co-hosts with his friend Austin, aka Bane x Bramble, who's mainly active on Instagram. Now, Austin is very adept in the intersection between witchcraft and perfume and scent making, I believe. So if you're interested in that, especially in relation to, for example, folk magic from the southern US, where Austin, I believe, is also from, Bane x Bramble and the Witch of Southern Light and their podcast would be a great place for you to start. And speaking of podcasts, I also recommend you check out the Red Text podcast, which is hosted by Rai the Mestizo Mystic and Voga Illumisente. I believe they are both Filipino-American, and on their shared podcast, they mainly talk about the intersection between folk magic and Catholicism in a form which is called folk Catholicism. So how to incorporate saints and mainly Christian imagery into your witchcraft and what the intersection of that looks like in their practice, but also historically. And they also often have guests on to talk about their own perspectives on that topic. And they both have, I believe, the best podcasting voices. Just give it a listen. Their voices are like butter. Now, if you're into plant magic and working with herbs in your practice, Annie, aka the Green Witch, would probably be the channel to look out for. Now, she has been making content since also I think 3 years maybe. I've been following her since the videos she made about the Wiccan Wheel of the Year with that retro music in the background. If you know, you know. And similar to Olivia, her cinematography is just stunning and her videos are just so aesthetic to look at, but her videos also go beyond aesthetics. So she has 2 channels. One is more vlog oriented and another one which is more teaching oriented. So this is where you can get information on how to make decoctions with herbs, how you can make spell oils, how you can make salves with herbs, and what herbs to choose, what properties they have, and also how to properly store and prepare them. And she also wrote a book on this, which I actually have. I have not finished it yet, but it's a really valuable resource in my opinion to fall back on in your practice. Now, one channel that I would also recommend is Nike at the Warrior Witch Nike, and that channel centers mainly around their experiences in their craft and how they've sort of came into their current practice. You can find information on how to properly structure your grimoires. You can find information on the dangers that you might find within the online witchy community and how you can recognize far-right grifters early on, how ancestor work plays into their practice. But also, if you're wanting to look more into Germanic paganism, or more specifically Norse paganism and heathenry, that channel is also a good place to look for information and to look for resources. They have a Discord community, I believe, where there's zero tolerance for bigots, and from what I've heard, it's pretty well moderated. So you can just jump over there and connect with people and gain some more information on the topic. Okay, speaking of heathenry, you should also check out Bente, aka the Norse Witch. And this is a fellow German creator and a fellow North German creator, and we have actually collabed on their channel before, link in the description. And like the name suggests, their channel is mainly about heathenry, Norse magic, also sometimes North German magic, and generally more focused on northern Germany and southern Scandinavia, because that's Bente's background as a person that grew up on the Danish-German border. But you can also find more general information on their channel, and Bente also has interviews that they do with other practitioners, which I'm always kind of looking forward to. Like, I love seeing how other people structure their practice and what their spiritual background looks like. I find that very fascinating. Bente also does vlogs from time to time, which I find very aesthetic, and they upload very frequently. I don't know how they do it. You know how often I upload. That's like maybe once every 2 months, but Bente uploads at least once a week, I believe. So if you want to have high quality content with a high quantity, their channel is the one to check out. Moving on to another fellow German creator. This time the creator is from the southeast of the country, so we're kind of at the opposite ends of Germany. And the creator I'm talking about is Bex, aka The Witch's Cookery. Just like Olivia, just like Annie, Bex's videos are very aesthetically filmed and always fun to look at. Bex mainly talks about her perspective on witchcraft, which is less of a directly supernatural one, and she goes more of a psychological route in her practice. So if you're not really into believing in the supernatural in your practice, Bex might be a channel for you to check out. Her channel focuses on mindfulness, how to use witchcraft to enhance your life to better achieve your goals. She also sometimes talks about folk magical traditions of her region within Germany, which I find really cool because the differences between our regions are sometimes just so stark that it kind of blows my mind. She also often hosts witchcraft retreats where a bunch of practitioners from all over the world come to her in Bavaria to have like a few days of communal ceremonies and rituals and just sharing knowledge with other magical practitioners. And she also has vlogs and information on that on her channel, so if that's something that you might be interested in, you can go and check that out. And also her practice and content is very earth focused, so you'll often see her walking in nature, harvesting things and working with the plants and the land to create her magic. Now, yet another German creator on this list, I might be a bit biased in the direction of Germany, as you might have guessed, is Ella Harrison. She's mainly active on Instagram, but she also has a YouTube channel with a bunch of videos. The older ones are mainly about a Wiccan perspective on witchcraft, but she has since then transitioned into talking more about German folk magic. Ella, like Bex, is also from Bavaria, where she currently lives, although she used to live in Latvia. For all those Germans listening, she also has a few videos in German, so if English isn't really your strong suit and you kind of get the gist, but a lot of things are lost in translation, you can also check out her German videos for information that will perhaps speak to you a bit more. She also has a book out about how to use witchcraft on a day-to-day basis and how to incorporate it into your quote-unquote mundane life. And I've made a review of this on my channel, which you can check out, link in the description. If you're into southeastern German folk magic or just German folk magic in general, her channel would be good to check out, and also her Instagram. And another channel of a folk magic practitioner which I absolutely adore is Joanna, aka the Polish Folk Witch. As the name suggests, she talks about Polish folk magic on her channel, and I actually had the pleasure of having her over on my channel as a guest, where we talk about Polish folk magic, but especially Silesian folk magic, which is the area of Poland where she lives and my ancestors are from. So we got to really connect on that basis and share different perspectives on this one single topic, which I think was very illuminating for the both of us. If you are more looking into Slavic forms of witchcraft, and especially West Slavic forms of witchcraft, Joanna's channel would be really good for you to check out. She's very no nonsense, no bullshit, straight to the point, and what I really like about her content specifically is that she is actually a Slavic person talking about her culture, the history of her culture, and she lives on the land where her culture is. So she has a really valuable insider perspective into Polish and more general Slavic folk magic, which I think gets overlooked too often in my opinion. So even if you're not really interested in Slavic folk magic, I still would recommend checking out her channel. She also does reviews of different oracle decks and book reviews, so you can go check that out if you want. And yeah, that's kind of every person that I wanted to talk about here. Of course, lastly there is myself. I'm 𝔖𝔭𝔬𝔢𝔨𝔢𝔫𝔨𝔀𝔫 I focus my content on Northwestern German folk magic. I live and was born and was raised in Northwestern Germany, so this is my cultural perspective on witchcraft, which I share here as content online. So if you're interested in this very, very niche topic, be my guest. So yeah, this was every creator that I wanted to talk about, but of course there are so many more, and as you delve deeper into specific niches within witchcraft, you will come across them inevitably. And with that, we come to my Patreon shoutouts. So shout out to Lindem and Katie Mora, shout out to 𝔖𝔬𝔬𝔢𝔨𝔢𝔫𝔨𝔶𝔨𝔢𝔫𝔨 and Jimmy, shout out to Hiraeth and Andromeda, and shout out to Kristania, Kelle and Brian. And with that, we come to the end of this video. I hope you learned something new, and Lordy van Goedguan.